About this number, James. It was 45-30 with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter. Pelicans were winning. The Lakers went on an 80-40 to run.
Yeah.
80-40.
Yeah. All started with
40.
the clamp down defense. You know, they made the run. Pelicans, obviously, a young team coming into Los Angeles. You know, Ingram, Hart, Zion. You know, they're young. Everybody's going to have a great start against the Lakers because you want to impress yourself against them. But the defense picked up. I thought Kuzma, especially, you know, double-double again. He had one the other night, 11 for 11. You know, Caruso knocking down the three. In addition, you know, to all the other little things he does on the defensive end. And I just thought, you know, LeBron, you know, he's just did LeBron like he usually does. And a good collective effort in the second half to close out the game.
I think they started out so hot, they had nothing left for the second half.
61%.
They was killing it. Hey, you know, we're going to talk about the Lakers offense. We're going to talk about the Lakers defense. But what I like to look at most is they took care of the basketball. They only had 6 turnovers in this entire game. And that's good for them because you look at a lot of the past games, they've been turning it over. But here they took care of the ball. They made good, sharp passes for good, crisp shots. And that's what you got to have out of a team that's playing a team that you need to beat. And these are one of the teams that you have to beat.
Yeah, the bench playing, everyone getting in again. LeBron James only playing 31 minutes, AD 33. How about this? Kyle Kuzma in his last 3 games, 30 rebounds. Double-double for Kuz off the bench. He's speaking with Mike Trudell.
All right, Kyle, you guys come off the road trip. Little bit of a slow start tonight, and then things flipped somewhere in the second quarter. What did you see was the difference there as you guys took over the game?
You know, we just tightened up on defense, made them miss a little bit more. You know, they missed some shots too, but we also made them miss. So I think that's the biggest thing. We got out in transition and run after we got stops, and you know, that helped.
All right, Kuz, 13 rebounds for you tonight, 2 short of your career high, but, you know, you've had to find other ways to impact the game without as many shots, just given what the other talent is on the roster. What is the rebounding focus been for you, and how did that play out tonight?
Man, I'm just trying to get in where I fit in, you know, just trying to find my role in this team, and, you know, just trying to bring energy, and that's what I'm just trying to do.
Hey, winning is always better than losing. You guys have gotten used to that over the course of the last 2 seasons. What about this new team with the new guys that have come in as you've become integrated with them? How do you think that's going, and where do you have to get to?
You know, we still got ways to go. You know, obviously.
On that end of the ball against the San Antonio Spurs, the Lakers have not lost a game. Their defense has tightened up, and they're #1 in the league in defensive rating.
Yeah, regardless of how the game starts, sometimes they start out and they pour it on. The defense starts at the beginning of the game. Sometimes they have a little slow start. But it's always the defense that gets them back into the game and activates their offense. 31 assists. I thought it was a beautiful exhibition of the extra pass. Montrez being the recipient of a lot of those dunks. You know, Caruso getting into the lane. But defensively, as Rob said, you know, we knew they couldn't shoot 61% for the entire game. Yeah. And so the defense had a lot to do with that in the second half. I just think if they continue to play defense the way they are, they could be a little bit better than they were last year without the shot blockers because, you know, they congest the paint. They do a good job of drawing charges. So far, so good.
Yeah, knocking down shots. And the key is they got good shots from penetration, kicking, and making that extra pass. When they're moving the basketball like that, it's hard to stop. It's hard to see them do those threes off the move, but when they spotting up, knocking down threes at a 15 for 37 for 40%, you like to see that, not the ones where they're coming off the move, because some of those guys can do it, but not all of those guys can.
Rob, we saw what Frank Vogel and this staff could do with the personnel they had last year, their ability to adjust in a playoff series. With this kind of a roster, Frank, that staff, they're able to adjust as well. Throwing 2 guys at Ingram late in that third quarter, and all of a sudden you're taking the ball out of his hands. It takes personnel. It takes defensive-minded players, smart players. The Lakers have that. It's fun to watch them start to figure that out this year already.
Yeah, the ability to change course within the game is important in this game of basketball because your game plan might not work in the first half, but you got to have a backup plan, and the Lakers are able to execute their backup plan. They got the ball out of Ingram's hand, they stopped Zion from getting into the middle of the paint, and they stopped the threes because they was just shooting the ball like carefree and knocking down shots, and they was able to get the guys, run them off the three-point line, make them make the extra pass, and they also got some 3-second violations and some hurried shots down the stretch.
James, I'm glad you brought up the offense as well. The 31 assists kind of jumped out at me. I didn't realize that until you said it. They continue to show that they're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. 40% again tonight, 15 of 37. And you know what's happened the last couple of games? Low turnover. Just 8 turnovers, under 10.
Yeah. Taking care of the basketball.
Yeah.
They got a little trouble last year, early turnovers, too many turnovers, sometimes 18, 19 turnovers, and the opponents capitalized on that. They've corrected that this year. They're making the right pass. They're not making that marginal pass that looks like it's there, and they're not, forcing the passes. So I love what they're doing. They're very patient. A lot of it starts with LeBron. LeBron is so smart. I remember a week or so ago, it was Wes Matthews. He said, I need to get him into the game. Montrez, he gets Montrez into the game. He knows how to find people. Kuz, he's finding shots for people. So, collectively they're doing it. And then when you got a point guard that knows how to do it, it's just extra butter on the toast.
Today in that third quarter was KCP. He kept getting the ball, too. KCP had 3 threes in that third quarter. You look at the most consecutive games with 15, 5, and 5. LeBron James to start a season in NBA history, 2011-12. He's with the Miami Heat. He did it 22 games. LeBron this year, we're talking about another streak, Rob. Here it is. He's at 14 games. I mean, tonight he does it again. 21 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds.
He's creating a lot of these streaks, and he's demolishing a lot of these streaks. But the guys,
I didn't even know these streaks existed.
I know they come up with some of the stats they have nowadays, but these streaks are good streaks. These are streaks that a lot of guys won't be able to accomplish, and a lot of guys won't even think about accomplishing. But he's that type of player where he can do so many dynamic things. You run out of ways to talk about his greatness, so you have to find things to shine on him a little bit more. But LeBron can you can go to any streak or anything in the NBA, and LeBron's name is probably at the top of the 5. True.
Yeah, speaking of records, you know who has the most fouls? The third person in the NBA history who has the most fouls in the league?
Who?
Robert Horry?
Yes.
In playoffs.
Kareem is first. Who's second, Rob?
Tim Duncan.
And you're third.
You know what Rob and I talked about the other night, James? Remember all the time Rob used to always slap the ball away? He would always slap the ball. It was his famous move, right? He'd go like this. And then the other guy would get the steal, though.
Yeah, he tried to slap your face, though, first.
Did you foul out in playoff games?
I fouled out in one playoff game. Yeah. That was in Indiana. I was in a Laker uniform. We was playing Indiana. I fouled out in that game. Game 6 that we won on our floor.
When's the last time LeBron was in foul trouble? He had 3 tonight, and they took him out in the first half. I'm trying to think. He just plays smart.
He just plays smart. And it also helps that he's LeBron James, because we know why people come to the arena to watch him play. But more importantly, he's a smart player, and he plays good defense. He's not a Gary Payton or these guys who use their hands a lot. He uses his body because he's bigger than most guys, so he knows how to position himself to take that that blow, and most time people bounce off him.
We'll have to ask Allie Clifton later on. I've never seen him play this type of defense. He's been a pretty good defensive player his whole career, but the way he's locked in, picking up star players the last 3 or